There you are. All going well? One sec. I'm just getting organized here with all the different bits and bobs. See, I'm off to the wrong side again in Instagram. Can't seem to figure out how I get. Let me see. I'll go this way. Oh, I went that way the last time. It was the wrong way. So I'll go this way. Nearly there. Meditation's coming. Bear with me, as they say. Got nearly everything up and running. Yes. Okay, beautiful. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Brilliant. Now, hang on. God. Facebook is just being Facebook. Oh, there we go. I think. Nearly there. Nearly there. It's coming. Meditation's coming. All right, beautiful. It's all good. I know you're relieved. How are you? How's it going? How's the day going so far? Is it going well? I hope it is. It's all right if it's not, but I hope it is. Right, so a bit of meditation. This isn't a class, it's just a chance to meditate together. I meditate throughout the day. This is just the one I do on the internet. It's part of the further emergence work I do. I'll explain all about that at the end of the meditation. So if you're used to meditating, if you're familiar and experienced, that's brilliant. Can you just hang on for a minute while I explain what I do, just for the benefit of people who are new to meditation? There's lots of different styles of meditation. This is just what I do. For me, it starts with why I would meditate. I'm trying to connect with the part of me that I connect to every night when I go to sleep. Not the dreaming bit, the bit after dreaming. So I'm dreaming, and then I drop out the bottom of dreaming into deep dreamless sleep, where I have no thoughts, no memories, no personality, no body, no possessions, no house, no country, no nothing. I don't even have me, because I sort of cease to exist, certainly in the way that I normally register my existence. So that sounds terrible, doesn't it? That sounds like death. And yet I love going to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I feel refreshed. So some part of me knows that that's a good place. And that's the place I want to go to when I meditate. I just want to do it consciously. So straight away, if you're new to meditation, don't do this lying down, because you'll fall asleep. And if you don't fall asleep, you'll battle sleep. Both of which are kind of contrary to what we're trying to do. So yes, sit up. You can sit in a lotus position if you're comfortable doing that. I'm not, so I sit in a chair. If you're going to sit in a chair, don't sit in a really comfy armchair, because you'll be into the whole falling asleep side of things again. So as I said, there's no thoughts there, so I have to figure something out with my mind, because my mind can't seem to get to this place. So I have to figure out a way to sort of part the curtains of my mind to get into it. So what I do is I just make an arrangement with my mind. I just say, hey, could you just not think for the next 15 minutes, because we want to meditate. At this stage, my mind is on board for it. It's like, okay, I've done this enough times, I know the drill, fine. And if this is the first time you're meditating, chances are your mind will be on board with it too, because my mind, probably like yours, likes doing new things. So that's great the first time. If down the track, if you want to develop a practice of meditation, your mind starts to give you a bit of resistance, then you can give your mind the sort of things that minds like. You can give it some thoughts, give it some concepts, give it some ideas, read a little bit about meditation, maybe watch some videos about it, and then you can get your mind on board. Because having your mind on board is helpful for a long term. Because if your mind isn't on board, it's amazing the sort of reasons you'll come up with for not meditating. Okay, so my mind's on board. Great. Next thing, stop thinking. That's not that hard, actually, because it doesn't really matter what I'm thinking about, the content of my thoughts. The structure is always the same. It's always pictures and sound. So if I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound, that's it. I've stopped thinking. So that's great. And as soon as I do that, I'm into the practice of meditation. Now, the practice of meditation runs parallel with the intention of meditation. So my intention of meditation, as I said, is to go to this peaceful, calm, still, I'm trying to think of the words that are used to describe meditation, Zen-like, still, said that already, that place, mysterious, that place. Then the practice of meditation runs parallel with that, and it starts as soon as I stop thinking. So as soon as I stop thinking, the practice of meditation starts, and it pretty much goes like, I'll stop thinking, so turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound. Then some time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again. I go, oh, I'm thinking again. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound. So I bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass and I'll discover I'm not thinking again. I go, oh, I'm thinking again. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound. Bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again, and so on. So the practice of meditation is just repeatedly, every time I discover that I'm thinking, bringing myself back to not thinking. And I'll draw your attention to that because it's quite easy to get the idea that to meditate correctly, that your mind is like a lake and there shouldn't be a ripple of thought, that you shouldn't think at all. Which, if that happens, that's lovely, but, in 30 years of meditation, I've never had it happen for a prolonged period of time like that. It's a kind of dance between these two things, the intention and the practice. So sometimes you'll be very still and deep and beautiful, and that's great. And then other times you'll be discovering that you're thinking, and both are powerful. It's very powerful. It's kind of obviously powerful when you're in this very deep, still place, but it's also very powerful when you're discovering that you're thinking. It's just the power side of it is a bit more subtle, because if you're like me, the sorts of things that you'll be thinking about are to do with you. So I'll be thinking about, what am I going to do about that thing? Why did I say that to that person? Why did that person say that thing to me? Or whatever, right? So if I'm having one of those thoughts, I'm in the middle of meditation, I go, oh, that's right, I'm in meditation. I'm going to turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, I'm going to bring myself back to not thinking. Indirectly, what I'm saying to myself is, that thought that you were just thinking, the one that you thought was you and you were it, well, you just made that thought disappear. So you're obviously not that thought. In fact, you're not any of your thoughts. You're something else. That's very powerful. And the fact that you do that repeatedly, that's very powerful as well. So I'm telling you that to sort of help you get over this idea of, oh, there's a particular way to do it, or I'm thinking too much, or I'm discovering that I'm thinking too often. You're not. It changes. It changes hour to hour, day to day. It's different each time. Sometimes you'll be discovering that you're thinking many times. Other times you'll be discovering very few times. And neither is better than the other. Okay? So all that you have to remember is every time you discover that you're thinking, bring yourself back to not thinking, and you're doing great. Now, the other thing that I'm doing while all that's going on is I'm becoming more conscious of my body, in particular tension in my body, and I'm letting it go. So I have a little system for that. I scan my body from my head down to my feet and back up again. And anywhere I find tension, I let it go. And I use my out breath to do that. And I do that because it's natural to just kind of breathe it away. But it's also a good way to remember to breathe. Now, I know that sounds strange, but it's quite easy to forget to breathe during meditation, or to hold your breath. So using the out-breath to let go of the tension is just a good way of becoming a bit more aware of that. The other thing I'm doing as I'm scanning my body is I'm paying particular attention to any structures that go sideways or across or transverse in my body. Mostly my body runs longitudinally, but anywhere that goes across has a tendency to accumulate tension. I think of it a bit like a log going across a stream. It sort of picks up all the twigs and the branches and anything that's coming down the stream. Except in my body, it's tension. So I'm paying particular attention to my eyes, my jaw, my tongue, the base of my neck, my shoulder girdle, all my joints, so my shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers, my heart area, my respiratory diaphragm, all my intestines, my pelvic floor, my hips, my knees, my ankles, and my toes. If you're starting out in meditation, a nice quiet room is very helpful. Reason being, when you close your eyes, your hearing amplifies, and one of the things that triggers thoughts is little noises, little or big noises. So a nice quiet room where you're not going to be disturbed, that's very helpful. And then the other thing I do to help my mind have less things to think about is I set a timer. for how long I'm going to meditate for. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes. But if you're new to meditation, I'd encourage you to set yours for shorter. Set it for 5 minutes and then repeat that 3 times. Because 15 minutes is a long time if you're not used to it. Okay, let me just check if there are any questions. No, there's people. No. Great, okay. I'm going to set the timer. Great, off we go into the mystery. Okay, if you feel like you've gone very deeply inside and you feel like you need to come back from that, then take the time you need to before you open your eyes. Or if you feel like you can hold the inner space and the outer space at the same time, then just open your eyes. If you do that and you feel like you lose the inner space, you just close your eyes again. Oh, yep, there it is, got it again. Open your eyes again. Oh, no, lost it. Close them. And open and close your eyes. And use your eyes a bit like a valve to sort of be able to hold both together. So as I said at the beginning, these daily meditations that I do, they're part of Further Emergence. Further Emergence is to do with growth, specifically inner growth. Your body, grows as you're a child, and then you become an adolescent, and then you become an adult, and it stops growing. But you keep growing on the inside, growing in, consciousness or awareness or spiritual growth, or whatever way you want to describe that. And just like when you were growing your body, you would have gone through periods